Neal, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I love it.
Friday. It's been a busy, fun week, but before we kind of wrap it up and head to the weekend, I'm excited about the guest we have.
I am too. This is one of the rare ones where I don't know her very well at all.
Let's all meet Ashley together.
Excellent.
Recorded live from Louisville, it's Talk About Town, the Louisville podcast. And now, your hosts, Neal Cox and Tad Hennessy.
Hey, Ron White here. I'm nowhere to be found. You're listening to Talk About Town, like I give a...
All right. We are here with Ashley Chamberlain, and she is a business owner and volunteer and reached out to us, and I thought she'd be perfect because we've been kind of getting the people you should know thing going on. We're like, hey, this is just somebody in Louisville that you should know. So say hey, Ashley.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like obviously our whole point is talk about town, and we're just talking about good things that are going on in the greater Louisville community, whether it be even all the way throughout Kentucky. So I know you have a little story, and Ashley, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, awesome. I am in Prospect, but everywhere in Louisville is like 20, 25 minutes away. So Louisville. My husband and I are originally from Georgia. We moved here from Athens, Georgia in 2018. And, we just told ourselves we wanted something new, wanted to start over, and wanted to take it by storm.
Okay, big question then. How'd you pick Louisville?
It's kind of a crazy situation because we just knew we were a young couple and had a little one. We said, if we're going to explore, it's going to be right now. Mm-hmm. And I have grandparents that live in Southern Indiana.
Okay.
So we say it was just like a point at the map and go, but there was a little bit of pull towards some kind of support. So I've got them and my mom. They live in Southern Indiana, and we said, let's just go to Louisville. Let's try a new city.
I love it.
I guess it was after you leave Athens, the Bulldogs start winning national championships.
Right.
Back to back.
We used to say, go Dogs, but now we're like, that's us. That's our people. So kind of turned out, it's because we had to leave to let them fly.
That's right. I'm sure Kirby Smart thanks you for that.
I'm sure.
I've got a lot of colleagues around the country, and there's a bunch in Georgia right now too, and they're going crazy
as they should.
Yeah. It's a really fun city. Our family, we both have family there still, and we really did enjoy it. The music scene is pretty top notch. But we just wanted to go to a new, adventure.
I love it,
and that's kind of how it started, really. So
how's the adventure going so far? I mean, if it's been a couple of years,
it's been going really good. When we first moved here in about, it was July. We were so beside ourselves with the winter. I mean, we were so unprepared. We had probably 16 layers. We were walking like Ralphie, like we did not know what we were doing. And then, the next winter we thought, okay, we're ready. Super mild.
Yep.
And then 2020. And so we didn't really get to explore as much. Mm-hmm. But since then, I really feel like we just have gotten a hold of what we wanted to do, what our whole purpose was in coming here. And we're just excited. We're really excited.
I feel like Louisville is a bit of a hidden gem, but I think we're kind of about to get discovered.
Oh, I like that.
Well, I've got a YouTube channel, and a different one than this, where the intended audience is people that are thinking of moving to Louisville. And I actually just did a video. Louisville's ended up on some big rankings here lately. And Realtor.com, look it up, where the top markets poised for growth, Louisville came in at number 3.
Okay.
And it makes sense. Two Thursdays in a row at different networking meetings I've been at, I have met couples that in the last, one of them was in the last year, had moved from Seattle. And the other one last night when Neal and I were together, I met a couple, and they've been here for about 10, 15 years, but they just on a whim moved to Louisville. And I asked the same question, like, why Louisville? Yeah. And they were from Florida. They were from South Florida. Oh. But I said, why Louisville? And they go, well, think about it. You can get anywhere. Sure, there are reasons, traffic, depending on the day, depending on the time, but you can get anywhere in 20 minutes.
It's so true.
And
it really is.
affordable living. The housing market is really on fire right now.
Yep.
And it goes a long way, especially if you're going to raise a family. I do think it's a good city. It really is.
It's got a little bit of everything. What we were looking for, because we're a music couple. And so music was super important. And we felt like it was a kind of a hidden gem or untapped market for him to play. And, I play with him sometimes as well. And so we thought, okay, let's kind of check it out, see what's going on with it. And we were pleasantly surprised. There's a lot going on. You can really find anything between concerts, the live music. We live kind of close to Norton Commons area.
Yeah.
I mean, they had live music every single weekend.
They do.
It was such a pleasant surprise, for sure.
Norton Commons is an interesting place because I live in the Highlands, and I feel like they're kind of trying to recreate that vibe. And in some respects, they've nailed it.
I agree.
I think it's
Lovely.
cool. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is.
We enjoy, because we live across the street from that neighborhood, and it was one of the first things we kind of noticed when we went over there to move. We thought, man, these sidewalks are so clean. Like, what a crazy thing to think when you're looking to move somewhere. Like,
Sure.
the sidewalks are
Sure.
clean, and they don't end. Like, they just keep, like, you can have a clear path. And that just kind of meant everything. How green it was, how clean it was, how quiet it was.
You have a golf cart?
No, but that's definitely on our list.
Yeah.
We're like, we got to get a golf cart. We can't walk anywhere around here.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get it. We'll get it. We're just still exploring the trails, and our dog loves it.
Right.
She's a ham. She doesn't really enjoy exercise, but she does love being nosy. So I respect that about her.
Nice.
But she
Louisville
loves
is
it.
definitely a dog town, too. There is
Yes.
no doubt about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we love that too. There's dogs everywhere. So that's kind of our heaven as well.
Well, we had that event last night, and it was at PG&J's Dog Park Bar on Baxter
I love
Avenue.
it. I love it. I've
It was
never been
such
there. I
a
love
cool
it.
spot. Shout out to Gina and the rest of the team there.
I'll definitely be going back here soon.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. We love going anywhere and seeing a dog. We're like, okay, we belong here. Like, these are our people. We don't know them, but they've got dogs, so we belong here.
Our dogs don't do awesome on the leash, and I feel like all the Highlands dogs are like they don't even need a leash. We're like, oh man.
Yeah, you got some work to do. Got to work on yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ashley, tell us a little bit about, I know that we're talking your husband's in music, and you've obviously just said a little bit ago it's a very important part of your life, but what's your day job? What do you do for a living?
So my business, I say financial services, and that can either sound super boring or super intriguing, because we will basically meet the entrepreneur where they're at in their journey. So helping the starting entrepreneur with setting up some kind of software, whether it's QuickBooks or Xero or Sage, all the way over to helping a multi-million-dollar company manage their day-to-day cash flow. So that can be daily maintenance of bookkeeping, paying the bills, things of that nature that I think a lot of business owners are hesitant to outsource because those are the things they're doing themselves. But we like to kind of take a hold of that and say, listen, let's just put you back in your zone of genius, which is running the business you started, and let us handle that. And it's kind of taken off faster than I really could have ever imagined. And I'm truly blessed because I have such a good network. But it's been a wild ride. And really, when we first started, my husband and I were trying to think of like a cool slogan, like that was like the most important thing at that time. Like, what's your saying? And I said, I'm going to say, let us mind your book so you can mind your business. I'm like, it kind of sounds sassy, but
I like it. Yeah.
it's kind of the gist of it. Like, let us take care of something that we know we're great at so you can focus on things that you know you're great at. So.
I like that.
And that that's so good. Really, we've had a bookkeeper before. We have multiple businesses and different stuff like that. I can't keep up with it. It's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, it can be a lot. There's a lot of day-to-day things that as a new business owner and even as a seasoned business owner, you think, well, I can, do all this at the end of the month, or I'll just do this once a week and it'll be fine. And I respect that to an extent where I say you're not doing yourself any justice by saying you're going to cram something as important as your cash flow into a once a week, once a month thing, because that prohibits you from true growth. If you're not having an outside perspective tracking and helping you reach those goals of growth, you're not able to really see big picture. And that's really common. I've come across with newer business owners is they're scared. They have these big ambitious goals and they think, well, if I can just do these things later, I'll focus on what I started. I started business to do this. That stuff can come later. But really, if you don't have your hand, your feet, everything ready to drive, you're not going to grow. And if you are, you're not going to know you're growing.
Well, and so many entrepreneurs, they're not lucky. They're very good. They're really good at what their idea is and what their business is about, but they're focused on what is the true operation of their business, not necessarily accounting, not necessarily HR, whether it may be. And they're wearing so many hats, it prohibits them from growth, like you said, in taking that next step. Sometimes I imagine you find it could be a prideful admittance, if you want to say.
Yeah. Pride is a big, thing, and I've gotten a lot of, business owners that'll kind of come to me, and I'm not going to say it's too late. It's never too late, but they'll come to me. It's the shoebox clients that will think, I'm just going to throw this receipt in this box. And then at the end of the year, I'll let someone else kind of take over. I'll let my CPA handle it. And the pride is a big part of that because you hand it over to a CPA. Now you're getting charged triple the amount for that time it takes for them to go through it. And also the respect that goes into that. I know plenty of CPAs. I have a couple of working referral relationships. And, we have that shop talk where we're like, oh, this receipt client, it's like, it's going to take me so many hours. And, to avoid that, it's getting that maintenance, that monthly maintenance that you might feel like, oh, I'm not quite big enough for that yet, but it doesn't take much to be ready. So it's trying to get past that prideful moment. Like it's, we're all in this together. Yeah. Let's serve each other in the best way we know how. And that's kind of where I try to come in as humbly and as prideful at the same time as possible.
Do you do tax prep too? So the whole thing.
Everything. I don't do any tax filing. That's where I kind of had some working relationships with CPAs where I'll refer to them. But I have those relationships because those CPAs know that I'm going to have these books ready. And that's like the respect part that comes in. So I will get you ready. I'll get you settled up and you'll be able to just hand off those financial statements to them and they're going to think you're a boss. Yeah. They're going to love it.
What about like tax strategy?
Yep. So we do, me personally. So I have a couple of contractors that do a lot of the day-to-day maintenance and then I'll overview and give back. But when it comes to strategy, forecasting, budgeting, that's kind of stuff that I'm more hands-on in. It's kind of stuff I like because it helps me know where do you want to go and let's see how we can get you there. Let's lay out a plan and let's track our steps while we get there. Use the metrics that we need to figure out where you're at, where you're going. So that's the fun part.
That's what having like a proactive plan to minimize your tax liability. And this past year with me and my wife, it's been unusual. I have no idea what our tax situation is going to be.
Taxes are a daunting thing. It's kind of make sure you pay the right thing, but we're not going to tell you what that is. But we hope you can guess, because if it's wrong, then we'll let you know by telling you owe us.
Figure out how much you owe us. If you're wrong, though, you're going to jail.
Right. No pressure. No pressure.
It's that time of year, too.
It is.
It is. It's I was just telling you, it's crunch time right now, and I think it's making a lot of business owners stop and think, what am I doing? How can I, increase my profit while decreasing my liability? And, those are fancy words to say, how do I pay less money and how do I make more money at the same time? And, there are a lot of things that you can get deductions for, the tips and tricks that every business owner just doesn't, you aren't just born knowing that. That's stuff that people in my field know, study, keep up with. It's always funny. My husband, he is obsessed with anything conspiracy, anything wild. He's like, this is crazy. And I'm like, look at this IRS article. Can you believe this? It's like so opposite, but really that's the only way you can keep up with it is it's constantly changing. So that's our shop talk is conspiracies and
Well,
taxes.
the marriage of it is that the IRS is a great money laundering scheme, right?
Yeah, I hear that daily pretty much from him. But yes, it's a game. It really is a game, and you want to have the right players on your team to make you the strongest and most ready. Because it kind of feels like a guessing game sometimes. So the most you can be prepared for is finding those deductions and having the right players on your team. So,
Ashley, do you own your own business just yourself, or do you have employees, or do you?
I don't have W-2 employees. I do have contractors.
Okay.
So it is me wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah.
But and that'll be a control thing. I'll have to let go pretty soon as we venture into new industries. But I do most of the marketing. Marketing's like 75% of your business, but the marketing, I do all the client interface, all of the organization setups are all me, but then my contractors, they do a lot of the day-to-day bookkeeping. So they'll do it. Then at the end of the month, I do the overview and kind of pass it on to the client. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Did you start that up when you moved here a couple years ago, or is this something that was already rolling? Or
this is as of June last year is when I guess officially I got my LLC, which made it official. But I had been keeping books, kind of on the side for years, So I greatly give the credit to my my father-in-law, who was the first kind of business owner that I just knew when I met him, like, this is what I was born to do.
Love it.
He's incredible. Yeah. So.
Yeah. My mom's a CPA, but she's done our taxes for free for so long, but I don't necessarily want her to have all that info. Sorry, Mom. And, it's too much work. She does it for free, but it's complicated. So we need to grow up. And
I have some clients that I do for free that are family. Yep. So I do understand it's your finances feel like such an intimate thing sometimes. And I think that's another reason people kind of hesitate to outsource. They feel like, oh no, this is private. It's like, well, it can be private, but you also need to know when to ask for help.
Well, especially in one's business. I find that sometimes they're even more self-guarded about their business information than they are their personal information.
Right. And I see that a lot too. And, I'm not even ashamed to say I have my own CPA. I need that second set of eyes to make sure I'm doing things as I should. And really, it's just too much work to do it myself. I'd rather serve other business owners than, worry about my books. Yeah. That's boring.
We sold an investment property that we had a year or two ago. I had so much on my plate, I hired it out.
Yeah. I mean, outsourcing today, I'm just seeing so many companies struggle with maintaining employees and help. That outsourcing kind of feels like the best of both worlds. You're helping people that are, trying to build their own thing or just contractors. And it's kind of that like friends with benefits, it's kind of like I don't have to commit 100% as a W-2, but it's also I'm getting the work done. Yeah. So it kind of feels like a win-win really for both.
Mm-hmm. I also think kind of the gig economy that is emerging, a lot of it powered by the internet, gives people a lot of that flexibility. Where, heck, you want to go drive for DoorDash today? Go do it. You don't?
Right.
You don't.
Right.
And having a contractor relationship with some of your vendors and things like that, it simplifies a lot of stuff.
It does. And there really is such a growth and need for contractors because my observance is since 2020, not everybody wants to go sit in an office. And people are starting to realize what's important. They want to be home. They want to be with their families, but they still got to work. So it's trying to meet people in the middle of that. And that's truly why I love working with contractors, because it's kind of that I'm helping you, but you're also helping me. You can get the work done by the deadline. I don't care when you do it. You know, it's not an 8 to 5. It's whenever you can. I really try to market to moms or parents that want to still spend that time with their families, but also want to be productive. I know myself, I'm a better mom and wife when I'm productive outside of the home. So I want to be able to share that with other moms, parents out there that want to do that too.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I really think that, especially for the way that the job culture, employment creativity is so key right now. And, flexibility is another word, of course, but I just think giving people look, you get the job done.
Yep.
As long as it gets done, whatever time you want to do it.
Right.
It
Doesn't matter.
I've even been impressed with people that have invented their own employment.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Like this guy that he's a dad of one of the kids that plays soccer with my kid. They were teachers, and basically their job now is they take over your brand on Amazon and make it, boost it, make it do awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's
And probably
great.
doing well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's they're trailblazing, if you will, and I love that so much because it's really opening people's creativity. That the workforce is forever changing. I know just with some of the clients even bosses I've had, you have this, group of people from all different kinds of generations that come from all different kinds of background. No longer is it all one generation, all the same background. It's just this big pool of different people. And that can be great, but that can also be really hard for some people to adjust to that. So this freelancing gig economy helps those that maybe just know themselves and say, you know what? I like me more than anybody else. So I'm going to work for myself.
It's funny you say that. I find that to be harder for the older. I mean, I don't mind telling. I'm 46. I'm open to it. I see the creativity with it. I see where giving the flexibility and just being, hey, if the job gets done, no matter how it's done, great. But I do see that the older business owner, I hate to put a demographic on it, but they struggle mightily with it right now.
Yes.
And they try to run things a little bit with an iron fist to where the
Right.
deterrent is that you're going to chase good employees away if you're
Right.
not open-minded to let them have their creativity,
Right.
do side gigs, do freelance work, do whatever you may do.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's going to be phased out essentially with the changing technology, with really the changing HR. I do a lot of HR stuff, and I just don't see it being long-term for a lot of the ways that businesses have been run. I think it was one of the other reasons that I just really admire my father-in-law is because he had a really good way of bringing a traditional feel to the office with also open-mindedness to the changing workforce, to modern technology, knowing that you can have this traditional feel about some things, but you have to be super open-minded to the changing demographic, to the changing generations, or you're going to be left behind. So, yeah, he's pretty great. Yeah, so I hope to bring that, into my business. I hope that's what I kind of exude when I'm hiring, when I am talking to business owners is I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what your religious background is, but we're all human beings. Be kind and try to keep up because money is fast and it does not wait. So you just got to keep going.
Universal, like
Yeah.
I'll work with people. We don't really discuss politics.
Right.
Really. Now it's like,
I know.
I'm not going to go
Everywhere.
buy this from this company because, and
Yes, it's exhausting.
it really is.
It is.
Yeah, I definitely I don't dabble into that kind of stuff because I feel like there's a place for it. And for me, business is business, and it's really not going to deter anything from me. You can be spiritual, you can be religious, you can be this way or this way. Money is an object and does not care what you are. So I just want to keep up with it and serve people where they're at. So that's why I really hope in the next couple of years that I can be able to have that a resource center. It's kind of like what I mentioned in the email is I want to have a place for all people that need resources to get back in the workforce. It's something, I'll work towards, but a place, no matter where you are in your journey, whether it's you need to know how to make a resume or you want to know how to start a business, what does an LLC look like? What's a sole proprietorship? Why would I choose? It's this journey that there just isn't enough information out there for people to know these things. So I'm hoping that'll be in the future.
Yeah. So what's your vision for that?
So I'm hoping in the next couple of years, I can just continue to grow and kind of build up the firm and let that kind of run itself. Hopefully by then I let control go a little bit with some of the day-to-day stuff. But I'd like to open up a resource center in Louisville for, of course, I hope that it's going to be for people that need to, whether it's rent out a cubicle space. I want essentially to have some kind of on-site childcare and for people to be able to go there to work.
Interesting.
So if they need to do an interview, but they don't have an office space or childcare, come there. We have on-site childcare. We've got little cubicles you can rent by the hour, that type of thing. And then also have educational classes. So when I'm working at the shelter, I helped form a financial program, and it just teaches people how to build their credit, how to open a bank account. If you don't have money to open that, what are your options? And people you don't learn that in high school.
No.
We're learning geometry. I'm like, oh, that was really helpful, but I want to teach people what do you need to know to move forward? Like, you're never stuck. Let's figure this out. So I hope that'll be something I can bring for anyone that needs it, really. Mm-hmm. So
I can see where that's very marketable.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
And I'd really like that to be. Of course, I have all these like random visions for it, but essentially just a place for community. I think that people have gone into their homes since 2020, and it's really hard to come back out. And I'd like to make a space for people to feel safe, get educated and informed, and have that sense of community again. So hopefully
it is. I feel like there's this whole, like, you go to some kind of establishment and the low-level workers, the minimum wage workers, they're either understaffed or if somebody's there, they don't care. They don't provide good service. And I think that's because we're probably on the cusp of a big change. People are like, I'm not giving, 8 hours of my day and walking out of here with $60 or what,
Right. I completely agree. I see these signs at, the entry level jobs, the fast food and whatnot that says like, work today, get paid today. And I think, I'm sure there are people that greatly appreciate that, but the big picture for me is how do you form relationships with people for that? There's no relationship that comes from that. It's you're a number. You're not valued anymore. It's just a body in that establishment. And it's just breaking apart that sense of community that used to be in the workplace. It's making people not want to go in, make them want to be at home, and that's not going to serve any of us in the long run. So, yeah, it's. I know there's something that's coming.
Yeah.
So I just hope we're ready for it.
Yeah, and and not to dive too far off of the topic, but COVID did force. There's so many repercussions about what we did because there are people that maybe didn't realize the anxiety they had because they just functioned.
Yep.
But when they got enclosed for a year and a half or whatever it is, I mean, we even lost an employee that basically was like, I never thought. I mean, she worked with us for about a year prior, and she wanted to work full time from home. We do have a 2 days in kind of a philosophy, and she found something that she was able to work from home full time, but she was like anxiety over whole new wardrobe. That her dog, we were talking about dogs earlier, that her dog was with her for a year and a half every day.
Right. She
had anxiety about leaving her dog at home. I mean, just things like this that are real.
Yeah, it has changed. It has changed people to the core.
Yeah.
And it's that poor dog. I really do feel because that dog gets used to her too. But it's we're still feeling those effects of the fear that the real fear people felt to just go outside.
Yep.
The misinformation that was spread. There's not a lot of trust out there anymore.
Yep.
People got a taste of being home for extended amount of time.
And they liked it.
And they did. They enjoyed it. And while I think, there's a place to be, you can be home and spend time with your family, but also we need a productive society. And I agree some positions can be worked from home. I work, remotely, but I do think it's unhealthy to say that can be a long-term thing for everyone. People need people, and we need to get that back into society.
my fear, and it's not, I'm not original with this, is like technology replacing the need for workers, but then no plan for that worker to then maintain their
What
household.
do you do it? 100%. That's
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What's gonna happen? It's these days it seems like it's almost smarter to just go and get certified. Just go get certified in something and then go learn that and grow with that, because it kind of feels like the degrees, the push for college, at least in my household, my parents didn't go to college. So in their mind, it was like, I got to go to college. I didn't go, you have to go. And now as a parent myself, I'm like, well,
It just depends.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It depends on what you want to do. I would hope that my littlest one is not going to just want to be a musician. But, if that's what he wants to do, let's go get certified in something like that,
I understand. Yeah.
So it is kind of a changing world. And I hope that anything that is replaced by technology, that we also have plans for what they are, or who they are replacing.
I like that.
Yeah, you have to, we don't want to forget about the people that started, those things, or what are we going to do with them? Where are they going to go? Are they going to get certified? Are we going to help them get certified? Because that's also a privilege to be able to pay for the certification, to pay for the time. And I don't want people to forget that, because sometimes it might seem like, oh, they're just lazy, or, they just yada, yada, yada. But really it's a privilege to be able to afford any kind of education to better yourself. So I just hope that there's enough information when that time comes for those people.
Good point.
Yeah.
And I've said it before, there's a huge difference in my motivation when I'm working in something I enjoy, and to help people find that thing and be able to enjoy their work. I think that's huge.
Yeah,
It's huge.
It is, because you don't know. Most people aren't born knowing what they want to do. Right. I had my times. I thought in high school, I'm going to be a teacher. Like, I just want to spend all my time with kids. And then when I became a parent, I knew quickly that was not for me. But really, it takes time getting to know what you're passionate about. And these days, that might change more than 2 times in your lifetime. You might be super passionate about one thing, and then, the next day you're like, no, I don't like that anymore. I'd like to go do something else now.
Yeah,
and that's
truthful.
okay.
Yeah, no doubt. So you had made a comment before we got started. Your husband is a musician.
He is. His name is Richard Chamberlain, which the older folks love because of the OG Richard Chamberlain. But he plays around Southern Indiana and Louisville pretty much every weekend. He's at the Hitching Post this weekend in Albany. He plays country and blues and rock, and tries to really crowd please, if you will.
Did you say he's a drummer?
When I met him, he was a drummer in a band. They were called Mama's Love, and they had like a jam band. Feel, where you never know when the song is starting or ending, and you don't know if you're in the same song or if you miss the kind of the transition. That was what he did.
Nice.
But he was pretty cool. He was also in a Allman Brothers cover band, so it was pretty cool. They had 2 drummers on stage, and that was a pretty cool show. But then he kind of transitioned once we moved here to songwriter and singer and guitar. So of course you could just pick it up and you're just super talented. Yeah. That's nothing. Super talented. He just laid down a track in Nashville a couple weeks ago.
That's awesome.
Very excited about that. Yeah. So hopefully he'll have that soon. But But yeah, he keeps things interesting for sure. He brings a
great.
little bit of balance to it. So, and I try to sing with him when I can. I grew up in marching band
Love
and
it.
played keys. So we've got, that kind of was something that we had in common, but I definitely don't think I could make money like he does for it.
That's cool.
The track he did, was it as a guitar player?
Yes,
Nice.
yes. He's playing guitar in it and singing. He wrote it. And it was really cool. He was able to get some of his old bandmates and play on it. I don't think he'd call them bandmates. It sounds super technical, but they all kind of came together, and it has kind of a southern rock, swampy feel, if you will. He has kind of like a Sturgill voice. Yeah, it's pretty pleasing. It's I think it's called Red Door is what he's officially going to call it, but
Okay, we'll have to look out for that.
yeah, it's really cool. He kind of wrote it about his journey and how there are different paths you can take, and there's temptations, and the whole thing is you're not painting this door red, so like he's not going to give in to any kind of temptation. I'm sure he would say it much more elegantly than that, but
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a good one.
How can our listeners find you?
So you can find me on Facebook, just Ashley Chamberlain, and then I have my business page, Chamberlain and Good Company, and I am on Instagram, and I've kind of gotten into TikTok. I struggle with it, but I'm getting there, and that's Ashley Chamberlain CGC. So hopefully I'll get a little more into that. I know that's the cool thing now, but I struggle with it. But Facebook is the big one.
Okay.
And then, I'm the one that runs that because that is one of the hats. And you can just send me a DM, or I post a lot of lives with kind of short teachings of things to kind of keep up with. They can watch and maybe learn something.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, the link will be in the description.
Awesome.
And we'll send people your way.
Yeah, sounds great. I
Yeah.
appreciate it so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sitting in here with us. This was easy and fun and enjoyable.
Awesome.
Ashley, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening. You can reach us at neal@talkabouttownky.com. Neal is a realtor with Judah Real Estate Group. Chad is a partner at Insura Max. You can reach him at chadh@insuramax.com. Check us out on the web at talkabouttownky.com. Go Cards!